will say that Eve taught me all there was about the heavens. You see what I'm saying? She taught me all there was about the heavens. So in so many words, the physical body of Adam probably could have came first. Then when they created another feminine body, Sophia herself came. So it doesn't mean that Adam is older than her, because Sophia is the mother. You see, it's a matter of just transferring the spirit. You understand where I'm coming from here? To try to get a main thing on this, I'm just trying to introduce you into this particular Gnosticism on what is actually going on. But in so many words, as a result, she created the life. Now, to correct that shit, he goes on in the Gospel of, not Thomas, but the Gospel of John, Apocalypse of John. To fight against that, he has to go and create a counterfeit spirit to be down here with us, to lead us astray. And what he literally did, leading back to the Yakub thing, is that he basically, leading back to the Yakub thing, is what he basically did was he influenced a group of priests down here later on to create this counterfeit spirit as a form of deceiving us. Now, based on this particular entity that became the father of earth, that was ruling out there, his energy starts to diminish, and he starts to die. In so many words, he starts to go to sleep. And these white people have to go and they have to do rituals, which is all to keep him alive. Now, the book came out in '88. It's out of print, but the guy is called Michael Bell II's Vodun Gnostic Workbook, and then the thing he's talking about, this Adalabroth thing, this Adalabroth thing. I doubt very seriously you're gonna get it, but you can write it down. A Vodun Gnostic Workbook by Michael Bell II. He says that this particular Adalabroth is dying. His power is diminishing. Talking about now, this is 1988, so modern times. He said, but these white people have to do certain rituals to keep him alive. They have to do certain rituals to keep him alive. So all this particular stuff that you're doing right here, that they're doing with all these rituals, is to keep him alive. And that's what this whole thing is about, with all of this type of stuff, to make sure that this particular entity, Yahweh and all this kind of stuff, you see. And basically, in so many words, later on, he becomes the God over all fundamental religion. You see what I'm saying? The aspects of it and stuff like that, where you pray to his ass, bowing down to him. Then you don't realize that you are higher than him. So this is the key, what we're trying to say here, based on this particular thing. You've got to understand this particular information. I just introduced you into what this Gnostic stuff is that dug up in 1945. So the best thing for you to do is to go out and get. Now there's some even, this book here is just the straight scripture. Now there's some other books, Bentley Layton's Gnostic Scripture, which is one where he literally synthesizes the stuff and breaks it down and gives you the headlines on all of it, which I think that is a must-have, too, is Bentley Layton's Gnostic Scripture, because he has gone through and done the work after this was published. This is just the straight stuff, and it's a lot of raw stuff up in there, whereas he has gone through and literally has has it so that you can he actually shows you the different breakdowns to explain a lot of this stuff in Bentley Leighton's Gnostic Scripture, which is a lot easier to read than the Nag-Hammadi library, but both ones is a must-have also too. Now, a must-have. So now the next thing I want to get into at this particular time is also this UFO conspiracy. Because what has been happening was, first of all, most of the stuff you're getting on all these spaceships and all this stuff coming, any physical spaceship is government. That's the first thing you need to know. But there are spaceships, but the spaceships is actually the Merkaba, or the wheel in the sky, or whatever it is after our soul gets its armor, or what they call a glorified spirit, and re-enters into our highest illuminated form. That's a ship also. It's invisible. It's invisible, but it has form, with those two eyes, but the third eye can see it. The ones that's throughout the Bible and all of the other stuff is talking about the spiritual ships that the third eye can see. And it has a close relationship to angelic type things. Right. That's the difference with that particular thing that particular thing is actually going on at this particular time. But now it's interesting because this white boy now is doing some shit just in his titles alone. He's explaining a certain amount of things with the biblical information just in his titles alone when it comes to these movies. Because like he's got like deep impact. Deep impact, as you put it together, that's because it was a meteor that falls and hits the ocean. So that's also the stone of water. You'll find that also in the Bible. I think in Isaiah they talk about Leviathan and this stone in the water. You see what I'm saying? So Godzilla would actually be this particular monster. You see what I'm saying? All this is aspects of our same thing. So they give you the thing Armageddon. That's just revelations and stuff, and they're going to come back with the same media. Then you got fallen, you got the fallen angels. You see what I'm saying? Then you got Dark City, which also represents wilderness and exile, because there was this city that was experimented on, but when they broke down the wall, it was floating out there in space. You see what I'm saying? Right. You see, you got phantoms, which I talked about yesterday, and it's supposed to be this black substance, but also a phantom is a ghost, so that's like the Holy Ghost. So the original Holy Ghost is also Osiris. Then this year the Messiah movie was Blade, where they literally said that Wesley Snipes was the doggone chosen one. But they also had the sister up in there also too. The Pearl? Right. Mm-mm. That's a little black boy. All these people, all over the place, for the Pearl. Mm-hmm. It's spreading down to this Pearl. And it's supposed to be the Messiah. Mm-hmm. The Pearl. Everybody's searching. At the end of the movie, everybody's supposed to gather in one spot. And they're going to see the Pearl. And then when everybody gets into the room, and the Pearl is here, the little black boy walks out, sits down, and he starts prophesying stuff. Little black kid. Well, I saw one movie called with the woman Mamie Rogers and the brother from X-Files, David the Company, is on the movie. And this little black boy comes out and starts prophesying, and she goes and takes her daughter, and they go out to some little old, the Rapture. The Rapture is the same one. That was pretty good, too. But it shows how fundamentalism, because when they was waiting on Jesus out there in the tent, and when Jesus didn't come, she shot the daughter in the head. So don't you want to go see the little baby Jesus? And she shot the daughter in the damn head. Yeah, that was pretty good, you see. So you got Starship Trooper. So that's also an army in the clouds. So these names also does things. The movie Sphere, which is this round circle, that would be more of the type of mothership that we're talking about spiritually. That sphere. But the sphere comes down, and the sphere is only directing your thoughts. But if you saw the movie, basically it was directing Samuel L. Jackson's thought most of the movie, and he was the black man. He was the damn one. That's right. So the sphere actually was his higher self. That was the key to the whole shit, you see. Now, the other movie you want to get is Warlock 2, Armageddon. Now, I talk about melanin, and I talk about alchemy. And I tell you, alchemy, they say, is the study of precious metals, but I told you those particular precious metals is all a part of the melanin. But in the movie Warlock 2, they got these stones that he comes back and trying to collect, and they say these stones came from Hemmitt.
Right. There's 4 of them?
No, it was more than 4, wasn't it? About 6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah, all around the world. And he collected these stones, but there was one stone that bind all the other stones together. That was like the philosopher's stone, the part of the pineal gland that bind all the other stuff to synthesize the melanin. You see what I'm saying? It was jammed up. But he bled black blood, which is called the black. You see, that's that oil. That's melanin. You see what I'm saying? Very key. So you go back and study that movie real good. Go back and study that particular movie real good. Now, another thing I want to deal with right now is this. Well, that stuff kind of made me sick. What they had in that shit this time. This was a bad batch, man. Anyway, man, I'm a little nauseous, man. Dang. Sure know what the hell that stuff was. It was, every now and then, hit or miss. The thing was represented as the heron, the hawk, the golden hawk, and the vehicle of the god Horus, or the solar phallic deity, whose messenger is Awas, who the book of law was communicated. Now look at this shit here. The phoenix was also the ancient constellation of Sophis, Sirius, the chief star probably corresponding to the complex stars of Canis and Aquilia. The phoenix or the Bennu was the hawk, the heron, the ibis, the rook, the Neurocrox, whatever that means, or the Netricrox of the Egyptians. The plague of the Romans and other cognic symbols. According to Pliny, which is a Roman astronomer, the life of the phoenix had a direct connection with the year of the cyclic renovation, which the stars and the reasons return their original positions. Excuse me, I got this thing here. The star and their seasons return their original position. That's talking about the lining up of the stars, and that's called the phoenix cycle. Now, we know that everything is based on lining up on the stars. Now, look at this shit here. Last year, on November 28th, I think it was like November the 20th, the week of Thanksgiving, around that particular, was for a whole week, the actual stars aligned. Remember last year, then they came back again in January sometime, right before Christmas, right after Christmas, I think it was in January, and they realigned again. Now, so basically it says that the peacocks of the Hindus, the eagles of the Romans are cosmic symbols. According to Pliny, the life of the phoenix was a direct connection of the great year cyclic renovation with the stars and the seasons, and the stars and the seasons returned their to their original positions. What's that?
Peppermint tea, just so you stone.
It would? You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I hope. Yeah, I hope so. Hope I don't throw up. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that should do it. But it's just. You see? Huh? Say what now? Yeah. Come to take a good shit, too. Damn. No, they got some good food and all. I guess it's just, you know, a combination of some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that cheese and whatever that type of stuff is. You know what I'm saying? Cheese and all that stuff there, you know. You know, well, see, there's different kinds of cheese go with salads. That's that regular sliced cheese, they melt. But basically, you know, like the white boys got that, you know, that damn Alfredo or the that kind of stuff, Parmesan and stuff like that. Or whatever type thing. Yeah, that's working. You know. Now, okay. In which the stars and the seasons return to their original positions. During this cycle, given variously different authorities, one authority describes that the cycle period of 666 years, which may have been another reason why Aleister Crowley called the phoenix and used the phoenix as the direct symbol of the OTO. Oh, what's that? Oh, shoot, boy, hell, I need to move in with your ass. You hook 'em up. Shit, I'll be in Utopia. Yeah, you put me on your goddamn dependent, down as a dependent. You know. Now, it says that another authorities describe a much larger period of 1,461 years with the length of a Sirius cycle according to Herodotus. The phoenix, this is Herodotus, the phoenix reappears every 500 years, and the constellation is once known by the name and the image of the Sophic Syria year because it arrives at the meridian time of the rising of the dog star. Now, this is the point I'm trying to make. If you go back and get the movie Fifth Element, in the movie Fifth Element, they said every 500 years evil comes. Every 500 years evil comes. In here it says that the Sirius cycle, according to Herodotus, the phoenix appears every 500 years. Now, every 500 years. Now, if you go back and get the movie, this thing first started in 1913. In the movie. Then the white boy got an extension. Then the shit shifts 500 years later, but you can also understand that they got an extension from some stuff, but an extension is only a small period of time, so we're talking about something being postponed, and the movie come out in 1997. First of all, the spring of 1997, they put the movie out, which is now, and a couple of months later, these planets line up. You can see how they're trying to stop some particular stuff that's actually going on. You see what I'm saying? That's actually going on. So anyway, basically, this thing is bearing witness that the fifth element was talking about this evil return. It was their evil. And they don't do no shit based on no fake stuff. Because if you want to trace it, the real thing that returns is the phoenix cycle every 500 years. You see what I'm saying? Now, every 500 years. Now, if you deal with basically 500 years ago in this particular area, or the 90s on back and trace it back 500 years, you will damn near get about the same time the Moors were expelled from Spain. And, you know, the same year the Moors was the same damn year that Columbus set sail. You see what I'm saying? 1492, so-called. You get where I'm coming from? So all this stuff is coinciding with the whole thing now. You see what I'm saying? This is very key that you understand that at this particular time on the way they're doing this particular stuff. This particular stuff. Go back and get the movie Star Wars, First Contact. And that woman that was the Borg playing in there, that's the Great Mother. Star Trek, excuse me, I'm sorry, Star Trek, first contact. And there was a woman up in there that's the board, but she tells them, she said, we used to be just like you all, but we connected our consciousness and we all think as one. You see, when she was talking to the captain. But if you understand it, in the time of Atlantis, we all had a one consciousness. Although we had different individual type experiences, we all was connected to what is called the collective higher consciousness. You see what I'm saying? So all this individual shit, that's the white people thing. What she was dropping on was we are universal as far as one consciousness, but even we call that the God's covenant. You see what I'm saying? God's covenant. So that's what that particular thing is also talking about at this particular time. Now, what y'all want to get into is this particular thing right now is the form of what is this Y2K shit right now, because we was talking about this right before you came. Now, first of all, everybody is scared based on this Y2K stuff. And basically, this is how the white boy does things. So first of all, this white boy, what he does, he will come in and to throw you off will create something for distraction. Now, we know that this white boy then came in and took niggas out of the projects, and nobody know about the shit. So if the white boy want to do some stuff, he just go ahead and do it. He's not going to warn you about nothing, not unless he's trying to get you to fall for some shit. Now the key is this, a book called Kundalini for a New Age, if it's still out. But in that book, a cat from India is saying that there are devices in the body. There are devices in the body that will come online and will come online or come into action as soon or when the body is threatened by extinction or annihilation. See where we're coming from? He's talking about this Kundalini energy. It's an intelligence. It's the beast and the serpent and all this shit that the white boy is scared about. Now, knowing this, he ain't gonna try to do shit to disrupt an energy in you that's gonna retaliate against his ass. So his number one game is deception, to deceive you and throw you offline into thinking that he's going to come out here and shut down his fucking cities. That ain't happening. Because to shut down his cities and make your ass even think about something endangering you will speed up his process of him, speed up the process of his ass getting off the planet. That's why he has to come in and secretively pick you off sections like he's been doing during the whole 90s in the last 10 years, is picking you off secretively. You see what I'm saying? Without you consciously knowing it, as far as it's being something that all of our energy together realize that we are in danger. Most people don't even suspect we are in a war. You see where I'm coming from? So he's not about to come and do some shit by shutting down America. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. When he can conspire against you. And that's been his rule and his role since we've had an adversary. You see what I'm saying? For the mere fact that he's coming out telling you this shit and putting this shit out there is to create this hysteria so your mind don't think about nothing else. and you don't do what the hell you supposed to do, which is kill his ass anyway. So he's delaying the process by telling you that he's starting up his murder wars on you, knowing that he can't do that because that will speed up the process, but knowing the only way to delay the process is to keep your ass thinking that you're going to die. You understand? To throw you off your game of killing him. It's a circle. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a maze of confusion. You see what I'm saying? Huh? What?
Exactly 2000. That was the wife you saying. I didn't read that.
Right. He's not going to put together anything. He's not going to put together anything, put nothing in that particular paper that's going to be against the government right now. Not the final call. You see what I'm saying? So you must understand that if you don't understand any type of thing right now. If you don't understand any type of thing right now. Which is interesting because I'm sitting up here about to damn throw the fuck up based on this Ula Balas, but this is interesting. Because C. Freeman L. Because C. Freeman L. said this. He said, you're supposed to force yourself to throw up at least once a month. Because there's a chakra down there, and it gets clogged up. And that's why sometimes when you get something that's messed up, you can throw it up. But over the course of eating all this fucked up food, what happens is it stops working. Now what happened was this here. When I started cleaning out, and I started drinking like 2 gallons of water.
In one day?
2 gallons of water a day. And I did this thing for about a good month. And after I did this for about a good month, what happened was, after a while, when I started eating the wrong shit, I started throwing up. You see, because I unopened that valve. And I threw up for almost a damn year. But what I didn't realize was, I was thinking I was sick, but I'm realizing now that it's a natural process. It's a chakra. You see what I'm saying? It's a chakra. What's that?
When did you start
92. Yeah.
What year did Wally die?
92.
See, I'm going to tell you what happened. You were connected with Coach, right? Was you opening up for Coach?
Now, I opened up one time for Coakley. But the first time Coakley came to Atlanta, right when he first came to Atlanta was the time that Wally just died, which...
No, I'm saying, Coach was in Chicago, right?
Uh-huh.
He was connected with Wally. He was feeding Wally.
Oh.
All right? That's what Wally, this power called progressive, because Coach was feeding information to Wally.
Oh.
Coach was over you, you say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he going to get something from you, pass on to Wally. Wally puts in a final call. So in order to take that and stop that, they take Wally out and enter the final call.
But and he had came a month before, and Wally was already dead. So yeah, but it was probably the Coakley thing. But then again, on the other hand, also too, they had to get rid of him anyway and type stuff because during that particular time, was a time that Farrakhan started transforming into a civil rights all-star. You see.
Now that 500-year mark.
And you got to realize this particular part too. This particular part too. It wasn't no more than 2 years later, because 92, 94 when he shut down college. You see what I'm saying? When he shut down college. But we had been seeing it around 92 as well as 93 because Brother Daoud out of New York called for the death of the Minister Farrakhan in the summer of 93. He said, Farrakhan said, if I ever change my word, that you can call for the, or you can kill me or whatever. So what's the name said, I'm calling for the death of damn Farrakhan, because Farrakhan is down. What's your and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So that's very key, and also too. So I want to get into this particular part right now. Should I do it after I take a break or whatever? What you want to do? I'm gonna try to go to the restroom or whatever.
Take a break.
You see what I'm saying? And then we're gonna come back, because I want to give you these Nostradamus prophecies. Based on how black people are supposed to take over. You see? It's supposed to rise up, and he also says that this is at this very moment, a huge comet will soon be visible to the naked eye. It is rocketing towards our planet. If not, prediction holds true, the Earth will pass through the tail of this comet in 1999. Could this king of terror be prophesied over 400 years ago? Metator hidden in the tail of the comet, this very comet. So he goes in to talk about this particular part, and he says that that this stuff also has something to do with the vision of the prophetic visions of battle by World War III. And the and and explains how true within a few years. So anyway, this particular guy is talking about this great king of terror. Well, not the whole great king of terror. First of all, there's two things that made them try to think. Number one, that this thing was based on somebody from the Middle East. The first thing about this child born in the late 60s and was taken from the west to the east. But anyway, this particular, whatever the deal was, Akhenaten was supposed to have brought this particular child in her thing, My Life Prophecies. Anyway, what the deal is this particular child was talking about, whatever it was like the child Horus or Heru. And because now Jean Dixon at the particular time, what happened with Jean Dixon was getting all of her prophecies from a maid, right, a black maid that was working for the family. And the maid gave her this prophecy about this spiritual child that was born in the February of 1952. But what happened is she held on to the prophecy until 1969 and came out and just labeled it the Antichrist. Peter Lemish's book, The Armageddon Script, and his book, Great Pyramid Decoded, he goes in and he makes complaints about how she basically labeled this child the Antichrist. Anyway, but that's one thing that's feeding into this particular part, as well as Nostradamus' prophecy of a man with a blue turban that will come to Europe and destroy Christianity. Well, that ain't such a bad idea. You see what I'm saying? So our particular person, if you understand the history of Christianity and religion, and they say he's going to destroy Christianity, it means he's going to destroy the motherfucking damn world empire that's killing everybody, and has been behind all kinds of wars and shit. You see what I'm saying? So they're doing it, but the blue turban thing that they're talking about, and I explained the last time based on Young's work based on the lapis Christ parallel, because also Christ also in alchemy is called lapis, and lapis lazuli is a blue stone look about like your shirt. So therefore the blue turban is a metaphysical thing based on the pineal gland, or the blue turban is talking about the lapis lazuli or the Christ stone. Because even in his particular things, he had to cloak his stuff in his particular day. He had to cloak most of his particular information. Especially in the movie Nostradamus. It's called Nostradamus. It's put out by Orion Pictures. It was 1994. And that particular book, Nostradamus, he said that he'd have to cloak half the stuff back then, because the people at that particular time, the Roman Inquisition was killing people who did anything that wasn't dealing with the staunch Christianity. or whatever that whole deal was. So at a particular time, first of all, I wanted to make this correction. I was not talking about ulabalas. I think basically what it is you just can't eat shit fast and then rush in here and get up here and try to speak. And basically, so that's why my stomach was, doing some stuff and all, because, it's just like anything else. The more you talk, the more wind go down there and all that shit start bubbling up and shit, But anyway, Nostradamus, he has a great predictions and stuff. And in this particular book, The Complete Prophecies of Nostradamus, by Henry C. Roberts, updated by Robert Lawrence. So The Complete Prophecies of Nostradamus by Henry C. Roberts. And this is the Millennium edition of The Complete Prophecies of Nostradamus by Henry C. Roberts. But in this particular book, I'm going to give you the page number of this particular book, and I'm going to give you the quatrain number, which you can find it in any book you have on Nostradamus. And we're going to go through the particular stuff where he is talking about he's talking about this black king will rise up. And he talks about here, the white coil shall be expelled by the black one, and he shall be made prisoner and carried in a dung cart, his feet twisted on a black camel. Then the youngest shall suffer the falcon to have more freedom. Well, first of all, the falcon is Horus. You see what I'm saying? The falcon is Horus. In this particular part that's going to be overthrown by the black one is obvious because they say the white coil, the white coil expelled by the black one and be made prisoner and also carried in a dung cart, made prisoner and carried in a dung cart. So basically, it's talking about a form of shame or whatever this deal is. The best thing to do with these quatrains is to read the actual quatrain yourself and don't pay too much attention to the actual translation that the actual person is translating. Because usually that's the European mind. And every now and then your spirit will tell you how the shit is if you just read it the way it is. So that's one about this black one is throughout this whole book overthrowing the actual white one. Now that's on page 39 in this particular 139 in this particular book. Henry C. Roberts' book, The Complete Prophecies of Nostradamus. Then we go to page 91 in the actual book. So that's going to be he writes in centuries and he writes in quatrains. So in any other book, any book you get on Nostradamus, it will be century 4. The one I just read was century 4, quatrain 85. Quatrain 85. So any Nostradamus book you get will have this one. If you get this, The Complete Prophecies of Nostradamus by Henry C. Roberts, it'll be page 39, 139 in this particular book. I'm going to buy one. This particular book. So on page 91 in this particular book, 91, let's see, it says, people that live about and Guarani, take heed to go over the Apennine mountains. Your grave is near Rome and Akana. The black a trophy. So it's now that's century 3, quatrain 43 in this book on page 91. The people who live about and Guarani take heed and go over the Apennine mountains. Your grave is near Rome and the Akana, the black trophy. So whatever it is, There's that black-haired ones telling some motherfuckers these people getting ready to get killed by the black-haired ones. You see, the black-haired ones. On page 12 in this particular book, but it would be century 1 from in the heirs of Romulus. You know, Romulus and Remus, that's the white people shit. Accompanied by the Libyan tribe and neighboring islands shall be empty. So a Libyan tribe, hell, Libya is black, or Libya is in Africa. That's century 1, quatrain 9 in this particular book, page 12. I'll read it again. From East Africa shall come Lionheart to vex Venice and the heirs of Romulus. Now, that could just be talking about any modern place now, not necessarily Venice, Rome, because remember, certain places that was not created back then, he would actually put a city that's created then to explain something now. Accompanied by the Libyan tribe of Malta, and Tremble and neighboring islands shall be empty. So this guy here says Emperor Haile Selassie, but that's not true because Emperor Haile Selassie didn't vex shit. You see what I'm saying? You know. So now, on the next, this one is a profound one. It was so profound until even the guy who did the translation couldn't get from up under this one trying to explain it away. So I'm gonna try to show you this one. This one is going to be in this particular book, it's going to be on page 109. On page 109. Let me see, hold on. Excuse me, hold on, so-and-so, yeah, excuse me, on 107, I'm sorry, on page 107. It's going to be it's going to be century 3, quatrain 92, which is the most profound one. Century 3, quatrain 93, page 107 in this particular book. Quatrain 93. In any other Nostradamus you got, it would be century 3, quatrain number 93. See, he wrote in about, let me see how many centuries. I think he got about, I think he has 7 centuries. They go centuries 1 through 7, and then they go from quatrain 1 to 90-something or whatever. So this one is century 3, quatrain 92. The world being near its last period shall the empire into black nations, and thereby shall have her eyes picked out by. That's near it says, the world being near its last period, Saturn shall come, yet late to its return. What this thing is talking about, the whole thing of the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, that was done by the Dogon. And then the Dogon said that was the end. They said that was the end period. Any time after that is just a petering out. So this says Saturn shall return. Well, in 1994 is when they did the dance. Yet late to its return, which is this is 4 years later. The empire shall be changed into black nations. Now, if you get the book of the law, it says, "I will pick out the eyes of Jesus as he hangs upon the cross," which is talking about religion. And here now I just read the quatrain, but this quatrain was so doggone obvious, so he had to make a comment on it as far as it. He had to let's go out and say. He said, also the end of the world, black nations shall reign supreme. And it says the presage of the rise of black African and third world countries. So he goes on and says it in this particular manner right here. You see what I'm saying? Now, in this book on page 129, let's look on page 129 and see what this thing is actually talking about. On page 129, he goes on to say, let me get this thing right. Let me get the right one. So-and-so, hold on. Which one? So in murder in Spain, yeah. He says, from the name of a French king never was, thus was never the lightning much feared. Italy shall tremble, Spain and England. He shall be much taken with women strangers. No, that's not the one. Hold on, let me get the right one. I said it's, oh, excuse me. It's 139. Okay, that's what it was. I was wondering what the hell was going on. Yeah. Let me see, 139. So-and-so, the king, saw the, hold on 1 minute. No, that's, let me see if I can find this thing the right way. Let's see, 139, Saturn and king and strong and shall be, bear with me 1 minute. Oh, bear with me 1 minute. No, I'm getting the doggone date, so let me get one more, hold on. Here it is, 126 is what I'm looking for. Here it is. Let's see what this says. 126. 126. And this thing is, it's talking about a wild black one. It says, the wild black one, after he shall have tried his bloody hand by fire and sword, bended bows, all people shall be frightened to see the greatest hang by the neck and feet. So whatever the deal is, it's still talking about this black one, because he keeps giving the same black one, but this particular black one is very victorious. That's Quatrain 47. That's Quatrain 47. Let me go on. That's century 4. That's century 4. Now, in century 191 is coming up, is going to be an awesome one. No, excuse me, not that. On page 191, let's see. It's going to be an awesome one, 1 minute. And this one is on page 190. No, I'm sorry. Let me get this shit right. Page 190. I want to get it right. Page 190, century 6, Quatrain 33. Page 190, century 6, Quatrain 33. His life through all shall not save him by sea, but between two a black and red. Now what they're talking about here is this. On another one, they say the black and wrathful one will make him bend a bloody knee. Same quatrain. It says through all the U.S., his last hand bloody through all the U.S. shall not save him by sea. And it's talking about the United States and all their particular fighting and their wars. They can't go overseas and be saved by going over kicking somebody's ass. But between two rivers shall they fear a military hand. Now he's writing in code. Two rivers is Atlantic and the Pacific. It's the oceans. A black and wrathful will be repentant. Now the black and wrathful one is not repent. He's not repenting. If you look at the word repent, it also means to identify something also too, and to own up to something, or also to be some type of restoration also. These words have a lot more meaning. But in one quatrain, they say this black and wrathful one between two rivers will make him bend a bloody knee. You see what I'm saying? And that's quatrain 30, century 6, quatrain 33.
That part about going
wanted to ask, does that relate to the other fellow that said it would be a good idea for them to run Catholic?
I don't necessarily know. I don't think so. This guy, he was getting a straight up channel. I don't know if it was on you know, he was getting a straight up channel, but I think in his circle, he was telling the people in that guy's circle that he reading this stuff too in that channel. Those people had already been talking about going to Africa. And he was saying it ain't nothing. He said in his thing it's not necessarily a good idea to do it. He said although it wouldn't be so bad or something like that. Yeah, he said something like that. He said, but it's this love and shit you got to show these people or whatever the deal is. You see what I'm saying? Is this love and stuff you got to show these people. You see what I'm saying? But you see. Now another one on Century 5. To the vanquished enemies of peace. A black enemies of peace. That's white people. A black that they're actually talking about here in the same thing. Now on page, and that's on page 190, but that's quatrain, that's century number 5, quatrain 38. Now on page 197, it goes in and it talks about, it says, at the break of day, at the second crowding of the crowing of the cock, those of Tunis and Fez and Bergia, by means of the Arabian, shall take prisoner the king of Morocco. The king of Morocco. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily sure, but he talks about the Fez and he talks about these people taking this king of Morocco, or whatever. But the next one is very clear on page 205. I just wrote down the Fez on that one to try to find out. But the next one is very clear. And this is the one that this particular guy is basing his shit off, but he don't understand it's talking about here. It says that the king and the great wars from Morocco, that's already happened. So this guy, which is talking represents all nation of Islam or the Moroccan Empire. You see, so my point is he talks about this kingdom of Fez shall come to Europe, fire sword shall destroy their city. You see, the great one of Asia by land and the great and with a great army, so that blues, greens cross into death and he shall drive. Given all this particular stuff, you know, but he had to write it and he had to cloak the particular stuff. But this is talking about, plus also if he was straightforward, the white man destroyed his shit. That's on page 105 of this book, but that's page century, that's century 6. Century 6, quatrain 80. Now, quatrain 80. On page 206 of this particular book, he goes in and he talks about he says, the tears and cries, complains, howling fear, inhuman heart, the cruel and black astonish, Geneva ones of Guinea shall spill blood, and bell shall ring, no mercy given. So whatever this deal is, he got all these things he's cloaking, but here it goes again, this cruel black one. You see, over and over and over again, he's talking about this cruel black one, which leads to the last final prophecies that he did on page 336 in this particular book. But we're talking about the famous one that is dealing with 1999 century. This is century, I think this is century 10, quatrain 72. So the main one is quatrain 72. That's the main one, and the basis of what this particular book is written on, the 1999, where it says, in the year 1999, 7 months from the sky, shall come an almighty king, as what he says, to rise again the great kings of the Jacqueline, before and after Mars reigns happy. Mars reigns happy. In this one, it says that in 1999, 7 months from the sky, shall become a great king of terror, and will reestablish the great kings of the Mongols. And after, war reigns happy, but you know Mars is the god of war. But he goes on in his particular thing and says, Nostradamus, he says, the tremendous revelation foretold to take place in the year 1999 with the complete upheaval existing the social orders perceive the worldwide wars. Nostradamus shows his mystic knowledge of the great secrets of the book of Revelations and solves for us the identity of the beast of the apocalypse and the time of his arrival of John of Patmos. Revelations, that's in the Bible, Revelations 13:18. The records here is wisdom's, and it says, let him has the understanding to count the number of the beast, which is the number of the man, and this number is 666. By simple reversal of the numbers, you get 999 upside down, which are also obtained 666. Also obtained 666. Also, the arrangement of the prophetic visions of H.G. Wells and other gifted history science fiction writers. Nostradamus actually ties in the date 1999. From the skies shall come an invasion, and Mars shall reign at will. The time alone will tell whether the war of the worlds is expected literally or metaphysically. Or metaphysically. You know, this thing, now, on the next page, page number 5, excuse me, on page number 337 of this book, century 10 again, quatrain 75, he has this long expected, shall never come into Europe, in Asia shall appear, or one issued from the line of the great Hermes, which is Tahuti, which is Africa, shall be over all kings of the Orient. You see what I'm saying? Shall be all kings of the Orient. Well, either way you put it, this is a type of metaphor because it has something to do with the same quatrain number 72. He said that Nostradamus he says here that Nostradamus will reestablish the great king of terror in 1999, will reestablish the great kings of the Mongols. Well, we know that the original Mongolians was black people. So in itself, instead of saying Africa, we saying something even great, put it on the other side of the world for the simple doggone fact, he's talking about not just some African nation, he's talking about the whole world being black when he talk about the great kings of the Mongols. But he also goes in here and also on the next quatrain 75, he adds more to it. He says, long expected should not come into Europe, because I think he's talking about, they're talking about being saved by fucking Jesus. And that shit ain't going to happen to Europe, because Europe is ain't shit happening. So he said it's not going to come to Europe. Then he says Asia. But then again, going back to the whole thing, with this whole Sufi line and this whole type thing here, as well as some things. You got Asia Major, Asia Minor, going back to Elijah Muhammad, the Asiatic black man. You see what I'm saying? This thing is talking about doggone black people. He said Asia shall appear, but this is the part that lets you know that it's not talking about no Chinese shit. Asia shall appear issued from the great line of Hermes, and Hermes is Tahuti. So the great line of Hermes is the great line of the Egyptians. Shall one be over all the Orient? Instead of saying Africa, he just say the Orient, but in actuality, what this thing is actually talking about is black people taking this shit back over. You see what I'm saying? So those are a few of the actual book. But I say that the one I had several ones, but I think the ones that had some of the best stuff was this particular one of this guy Henry C. Roberts. And I think for the simple fact, I think Henry C. Roberts. Today, these particular days, they're real mindful of what they do, and so Henry C. Roberts was first wrote this in 1947. So therefore, I think in actuality, sometimes older stuff is better than newer stuff, or whatever. You never know what the deal is. But I found that one to deal with the black thing more. This particular book deals with the black one, and there's probably 3 times as much in there on it. I just hadn't found it. But these are the ones I happened to find. But it deals with the black one more than the other ones, because I've seen some of the other books and they take the black one out. Because he said, now it's interesting because he says in here, he says that his last, see, in one of these, in this one, I'm going to show you this right quick. Look at this. On page 191, I'm going to show you this one, and I'm going to show you another one. Now, he says his last hand blooded throughout the U.S. Shall not save him by sea, but between 2 rivers he shall fear a military hand. The black and rifle one shall be repentant. Now, in this particular book here, it's interesting because this black and rifle one in here, he's talking about, the one he's talking about in here, I'm going to give you the timeline. He literally says in the timeline here, in 1999, let me give you the thing right here so you can see this shit here. In 1999, Nostradamus says the great king of terror arrives. Blood and pestilence reddens 2 rivers. You see what I'm saying? Pestilence, famine, natural catastrophes, and Armageddon. So first of all, he literally what he does here is he takes both the great king of terror from 1999, Quatrain 72, and the one about the bloody black, he don't say it, but he says he reddens 2 rivers, which is the same quatrain in here. In this particular one right here, he uses the same one about the bloody black one. You see what I'm saying? So this particular guy put it together. He said, the great king of terror arrives, but then he talking about this person that reddens 2 rivers. In this book, he says it's a bloody black one that America, U.S., shall feel a military hand, just as doggone J. Edgar Hoover said and everybody else said. As well as the boy that Steve Coakley was talking about, this white man he read saying the only thing can stop this new world order is the black people in the United States. You see what I'm saying? It's the black people in the United States. You see what I'm saying? And is the stuff that he's actually talking about at this particular time. So now I want to get to a couple other things right now too. It's interesting because now this particular prophecy here, cosmic prophecy, maybe it's not so far away. And it says that the Hale-Bopp comet came from Sagittarius. More than a few people say that it is significant. Now, it's interesting because in Milbach's book, Apocalypse of John, he simply says, what's the name must be in there sleeping? Tim. Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying. He simply says, that the rider of the white horse you got a Bible in here? See if we can find this thing. Break this shit down.